Toyota hybrids, Prius, RAV4 hybrid, Camry hybrid, hybrid resale value, eCVT reliability. The entire world is obsessed with Toyota hybrids right now for one simple reason. They're the only drivetrain that lowers your fuel bill without asking you to change your life, and they have the deepest real-world proof of any hybrid system ever sold. And here's the pattern interrupt. The obsession isn't mainly about MPG, it's about risk. Toyota hybrids feel like the lowest risk way to buy yourself out of gas pain in 2026. Let's break this down. If you want to understand cars before you buy them, subscribe, because most people spend thousands based on one sentence like, Toyota hybrids last forever, without understanding what's actually making them last or what can still bite you. First thing you need to know is why this obsession is global, not just a US thing. A hybrid is the only efficiency upgrade that works in every country that has gas stations. It works in dense cities with apartments, it works in rural areas with long distances. It works in places where charging is great and places where charging is a mess. It works for families, taxis, rideshare, delivery, and commuters. EVs can absolutely be the cheapest vehicles to run in the right situation, but the key word is situation. Hybrids don't require a situation, they just work. That's why Toyota hybrids are everywhere right now. They're the easiest, yes. Now here's the first new thing most people don't fully understand. Toyota didn't win hybrids because they invented a battery. Toyota won hybrids because they built a transmission concept that avoids the most common ways transmissions die. Most people hear Toyota eCVT and panic because they think of belt CVTs, two pulleys and a belt under tension, heat-sensitive, fluid-sensitive, and sometimes expensive failures. Toyota's eCVT in most mainstream hybrids is not that. No belt, no variable pulleys, no belt slip mechanism wear mechanism. It's a power split transaxle built around a planetary gear set with motor generators controlling torque flow. Mechanically, it's gears meshing in oil. That's why you see real-world stories like Prius taxis doing 300,000 miles and the transmission isn't the headline problem. This is where it gets interesting. Toyota's hybrid CVT feel is created electronically, not mechanically. The reason it behaves like a CVT is because the motors and planetary gear set can decouple engine RPM from wheel speed in a controlled way. That's a totally different reliability story than a belt CVT trying to hold torque through friction. So when people say Toyota hybrids are reliable, a huge chunk of that reliability is that the drivetrain is mechanically calm. Calm machines last. Second reason the world is obsessed, Toyota has sold hybrid systems at insane scale, and scale creates reliability. This is not fanboy talk, it's math. Toyota has publicly reported cumulative global hybrid sales surpassing 20 million, and over time, Toyota's broader electrified total is even higher. What that means in real life is Toyota has had millions and millions of chances to find weak points in battery cooling, inverter cooling, engine calibration, software edge cases, connector sealing, bearing wear patterns, and owners do dumb stuff scenarios. If a problem shows up at a rate of 0.2%, that's not a rare problem when you've got millions of cars. That's thousands of real examples, thousands of warranty claims, thousands of data points to force a redesign or a supplier change. That feedback loop is why Toyota hybrids feel boring in the best way. They've been refined through embarrassment. Every company learns. Toyota has learned at scale. And this matters more than people think because reliability isn't a personality trait. It's the outcome of thousands of small design decisions plus years of real-world correction. Third reason, Toyota hybrids are average owner tolerant. This is the real secret sauce. A lot of cars are reliable if you maintain them perfectly. Toyota hybrids tend to be reliable even when people maintain them like people. Late oil changes, short trips, traffic idling, cheap tires, ignoring a small coolant leak until next weekend, never touching lifetime fluids. Toyota built hybrid systems that survive the average owner, not the enthusiast owner. And you can see it in how Toyota manages the hybrid battery. Here's a new fact many buyers don't realize. Most Toyota hybrids don't use the full battery capacity the way an EV does. The system holds the battery in a middle state of charge window most of the time, instead of cycling it from 0 to 100. That reduces stress and helps longevity. It's one of the reasons older Toyota hybrids with nickel metal hydride packs have lasted as long as they have in the real world. So when you hear Toyota hybrid battery lasts forever, don't translate that as magical battery. Translate it as conservative battery management, thermal control, and not pushing the chemistry to its limits. Fourth reason, fuel price anxiety is global, and hybrids are the easiest hedge. People don't buy hybrids because they love technology. They buy hybrids because they hate uncertainty. Even if gas is fine today, everyone remembers volatility. Hybrids function like a built-in hedge. Whatever gas does, you're less exposed. And because Toyota's hybrids are widely trusted, they're the default hedge. In markets where buyers are nervous about budgets, the safest answer wins. Let me ask you a question that explains most of the obsession. If you could pay a little extra upfront to reduce a weekly bill for the next 5 years, would you do it? Most people say yes, especially when that weekly bill has been unpredictable. Fifth reason, EV ownership is improving, but for a lot of people, it still isn't effortless. This is where the 2026 market psychology kicks in. EVs are great for many people, but the average buyer still gets stuck on a few real friction points. I rent, I street park, my building doesn't have charging, I don't want to fight for a charger, I do long trips, I don't want winter range surprises, my insurance quote is higher than I expected, I'm not sure what it's worth in 3 years. Whether those fears are fair for every EV model doesn't matter. Markets price feelings. Hybrids remove those feelings because the infrastructure already exists, gas stations. So you get this big wave of buyers who want efficiency but don't want to change their routine, and they pile into hybrids. And Toyota is the brand most people trust not to turn that decision into regret. Sixth reason, Toyota hybrids have a repair ecosystem that's basically unmatched. This is another new knowledge piece people don't factor into the cost of ownership. A car isn't just a car, it's the support network behind it.
Toyota hybrids have been around long enough that dealers know them, independent shops know them, scan tools support them, parts distribution is mature, common failure patterns are understood. That last part is huge, because when something goes wrong, the cheapest repair is the one that gets diagnosed quickly. A mature ecosystem lowers your downtime cost, it lowers your guessing cost, it lowers your risk of being the customer who hears, "We're not sure, let's start replacing parts." That's why Toyota hybrids feel safe to buy used. You're not just buying engineering, you're buying an entire world of familiarity. Seventh reason, Toyota hybrids match how most people actually drive. Here's the part most people miss when they shop based on highway MPG numbers. Most people's driving is messy. Cold starts, short trips, traffic, stop signs, school runs, parking lots, constant speed changes. Hybrids shine in exactly that mess because regen captures braking energy and the engine isn't forced to live in inefficient low load zones as much. So the hybrid benefit isn't theoretical, it's weekly. And Toyota's calibrations tend to make those transitions smooth enough that the car doesn't feel like a science project. Eighth reason, the resale value obsession feeds itself. Toyota hybrids have strong resale because demand is broad and trust is high. But here's the real loop. People believe Toyota hybrids hold value, so they're willing to pay more, so the market prices stay high, which reinforces the belief. That's why you'll see used Toyota hybrids priced like they're immune to depreciation. The market is paying for confidence. And this is where you need to be careful, because high resale is good when you sell, but brutal when you buy. So let's do the grateful you watched part, because this is the mistake that costs people the most money right now. The Toyota hybrid obsession can make you overpay so hard that you erase the fuel savings. Here's the simple check nobody does. Don't ask how much MPG do I get, ask how many dollars per year do I actually save. Example, with normal numbers. Say you drive 12,000 miles a year. Gas is $4 per gallon. If the gas version gets 30 mpg, you buy about 400 gallons a year, roughly $1,600. If the hybrid gets 45 mpg, you buy about 267 gallons a year, roughly $1,068. Savings roughly $532 per year. That's real money, but it's not pay any price money. If the hybrid costs $5,000 more, your break-even is roughly 9 to 10 years just on fuel. If you keep cars forever, fine. If you trade every 3 to 5 years, you might never truly save money. You just bought a nicer experience and strong resale. That can still be a smart decision, but you need to call it what it is. Now, trust moment, because Toyota hybrids are great, but they are not magical, and the obsession makes people ignore real risks. Here are the 3 ways people get burned buying Toyota hybrids during the hype. 1. They ignore that Toyota hybrid is not one single car. A Prius, Camry Hybrid, RAV4 Hybrid, Lexus Hybrid don't have identical risk profiles. Different engines, different cooling layouts, different brake systems, different theft risk depending on model and year, different corrosion exposure based on where the car lived. So you don't buy a Toyota hybrid, you buy a specific model year with a specific history. 2. You assume the battery is the only expensive part. The battery gets all the attention, but the real wallet hitters can also be cooling system neglect, brake actuator or booster issues on certain models and years, engine-specific known patterns on certain generations, suspension refresh costs on high-mileage vehicles. Toyota hybrids are reliable, but they're still cars. 3. They get scared of the wrong part, the eCVT, and ignore the parts that actually fail. The Toyota eCVT is usually not the scary part. It's often one of the strongest parts. The scary parts are usually owner behavior and maintenance, heat, coolant, and neglect. So, here's the practical checklist that lets you buy into the obsession without paying the expensive surprise tax. If you're buying a Toyota hybrid used, do this. Insist on a cold start. A warmed-up car can hide rough running, misfires, and early cooling issues. Cold start tells the truth. Watch hybrid behavior on an actual drive, not a parking lot loop. Does the engine run constantly just to charge? Does the battery gauge swing wildly? Does it feel smooth and consistent? Check the battery cooling intake and interior cleanliness. A filthy interior often means the cooling airflow has been filthy too. Heat accelerates aging. Verify cooling system health, coolant level, condition, and no signs of chronic leaks or overheating history. Scan the car properly if possible, not just no check engine light. Hybrids can store history codes in other modules. A proper scan can save you from buying someone else's almost problem. And do the adult financial step. Compare the hybrid premium to your miles. If you drive low miles, don't overpay. If you drive high miles in city traffic, hybrids are a real win. If you do mostly highway at 80, the hybrid advantage shrinks. Still good, but don't expect miracles. Now, let's land this. The world is obsessed with Toyota hybrids because they solved the 2026 problem better than almost anything else. Reduce fuel cost without lifestyle change, with proven engineering at massive scale, and a mature repair ecosystem that makes ownership feel predictable. That's what people are paying for. And now you know the part most buyers never learn, how to avoid overpaying for the obsession and what to check so you get the boring, legendary Toyota hybrid experience instead of buying a neglected one at a premium. If this helped, subscribe. Next, I'll break down the fastest used hybrid inspection checklist, 15 minutes of checks that predicts whether a hybrid is heading towards 200,000 miles or heading towards your wallet.